And missed you because you were running a little late. Now we're recording. Now we're live. And in a little bit, we're going to actually run the intro to the show. Hey, everybody, we're here. I'm
And
sorry that we're late. Things happen.
live is an anagram of evil.
Yes, it is. That's why we like to go live. So let's let the fans know that we are live. And in a few seconds, we're going to actually run the credits. And we just have to tell everybody that unfortunately, Mr. Usman won't be joining us today. He's got a thing going on. And that's it. But other than that, life is good. So we're going to talk about cigars, what's going on in the world today, and a few other things, I'm assuming.
You can assume away. It's going to go in the direction it's going to go. Roll the credits.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Welcome to Habanos Saturday, the fastest growing cigar show on YouTube with over 100,000 subscribers. Come join us every Saturday live. Every Saturday live.
And usually we're at 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern, 1 o'clock London time. I don't want to mention any names this morning, Rizzo. I was running a little late, and there you go. And Usman, unfortunately, can't join us today. So if you're looking for cigar history and a sommelier, we apologize in advance. But he took more Viagra again than he was supposed to. So he's dealing with that issue. And there you go.
Hang on. I'm just enlightening the studio, as they say.
Look at you. You're in a studio. How exciting. I'm outside. Where it's a brisk 5 Celsius. And for those people in America, that's 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And when I blow, I see my breath. Gotta love it.
That's called dragon breath. What are you smoking, sir? What are you smoking? Let's get
Today,
these formalities out of the way.
I figured I was going to smoke my Oliva V 135th anniversary cigar because it's a nice smoke. It's a nice full body. I enjoy it. And once again, I can't taste anything, but I enjoy the aroma of it. So to me, it's a beauty.
I'm smoking a proper cigar.
Okay.
It's a Bolivar.
So very nice.
Familiar.
You want to try that again? Take 2.
A Bolivar Familiaris.
There you go. I love it.
There is, and you know it's Cuban because Simon Bolivar is on the label. Now, this is one of those unusual ones where we talk cigar bands all the time, right? Actually, it depicts sort of a South American liberator. Yeah. He's got a cigar named after him, Libertadores, which is a big ring gauge, big cigar. But these, I'm slurring my words today.
See that?
These I'm reliably.
You want to have some more to drink. You'll be fine.
Reliably. I've been OJ oranges.
Yeah, with vodka in it. I get it. So
I've been reliably told that the Bolivar blends are normally the strongest ones. They're normally the strongest Cuban cigars.
Really?
Yeah.
I've had those. I've had their non-Cuban and their Cuban, and I didn't find either of them that strong. But now you've said that, I'll have to have a box.
There are non-Cuban Bolivars?
Oh yeah.
I've not seen those ones myself, but then again, Bolivar is like when it comes to in the Cuban brands.
Right.
I mean, for cigar aficionados, Bolivar is a very well-known brand. But if you're an entrant into the Cuban cigar smoking scene, it's not one that you're going to see immediately. You're going to see your standard Cohibas, Montecristo, Romeo and Julieta. What else? My God, my mind goes blank. But you're going to see the classics first.
Yeah.
Trinidad, of course.
Right.
Bolivar is one of those that is going to be at the sort of higher end of your smoking list because they're stronger cigars, full stop.
Yeah.
So
I've had those. Like I said, I got to tell you, some of the non-Cuban ones, like my CAOs, even some of the Oliva Vs, and even the Padron 1926 series, they're all strong cigars. And when I smoke a Bolivar, or I tell time with a Bolivar, either way, they're not that strong to me. So I'm not sure why.
Well, this is just it. The New World Cigars I'm going to say I'm not particularly a controversial person, yeah, but I'm going to have to say something slightly controversial
Please feel free.
because most New World cigars are total shit, yeah, and they smoke like the back of a lorry,
Okay.
most of them.
You shouldn't hold back how you
The
feel. You really need to let it out. I'm
the
just saying.
the U.S. market, predominantly for which they are tailored,
Yeah.
has acquired a taste for really shit cigars. So when you come to the slightly finer, more nuanced, more aromatic cigars,
Right. Like a Cuban.
you have to change your palate to adapt to understand the various um, characteristics of Cuban blends.
Right. Right.
Um, uh, that is, if you progress from really shit New World cigars.
God. First of all, I'm going to defend some of the New World cigars I smoke. I like to think that are not shit. There are some that are crappy that are out there. I will be diplomatic and not mention them because I've mentioned them on other shows. But I think the Padron series, the 1926 series, is not a shit cigar. I just think it's overpriced for a pressed cigar. The CAO Brazilian Amazons, everybody that smokes Cubans loves those, by the way. And I know you don't like Oliva, but Oliva is not a bad cigar. Now there are some other new worlds that I will not smoke because I think they're crap. I know you like the Camacho, so
Stephen, the best thing. One of the things I really enjoy is that this is not an empirical or objective study.
oh, I know this
We
is you.
we you can show a really pretty car to
Yeah,
someone and they don't like it, right? So the reason I say this is I'm not particularly vague or subtle about where I stand on my palate, and it's about
right.
palate. It's not,
Yeah,
I say shit, but I don't say shit as in an absolute sense. I say from my
right.
perspective, what the
Yeah,
fuck? Why would I smoke that? You know what I
right,
mean?
right. Well,
Right?
also
That's what I
remember,
mean. If there's any clarification required, it's
no,
on
no,
my head. These are
no, no,
all
you're
the
fine.
opinions that I express.
Yeah, yeah. We're not. This is not like France in 1700s. You lit off with your head and let them eat cake. No, but the interesting thing is that you live in a country, the United Kingdom, that actually you can buy Cuban cigars. And when all of us travel outside the United States, we all smoke Cuban cigars because we enjoy them. Getting
And
them
that and
in,
that, and that plays out. You know why I
yeah.
was running late this morning?
Mm,
I was contemplating doing my sort of guerrilla filming
aha.
from Tom Tom Cigars, and I got to Tom
Ooh,
Tom Cigars around
yeah,
midday. I did, and on this Saturday morning, it's a very very dull grey London, by the way, very dull grey. But the one thing about London today is not overly cold and it's not
right,
raining. It's not cold and it's not rain. It's not very cold and it's not raining.
right, right.
So when I got to Tom Tom this morning, it was full of American tourists. Right. Okay.
Wow.
And Tom Tom predominantly, I mean, they have a very, very, very tiny section for Davidoffs and the
Right.
EGM cigars, which you've been trying, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But Americans and a lot of people from the Middle East come there specifically to smoke Cuban cigars. And
Yeah.
that's borne out around whenever I bumped into Americans. There's another cliquey little boutique hotel in Marylebone, London, which is not too
Right.
far from Baker Street of Sherlock Holmes fame.
Sure.
It's called Number 10 Manchester, and they have a cigar lounge there. Most of the time when I go to that cigar lounge, full of Americans in London for 3 or 4 days on business, and the kind of feedback you get is, oh, I come down to smoke here at the lounge every evening because I can get the Cubans here.
Yeah.
You know, getting the Cubans um, is aspirational because you don't get them in the USA. But I also like to think, in the nicest way possible, that there is a difference in flavor, different in taste,
Yes.
different experience, and that's what people like to have.
But some of
Um,
the people, but I will say this: some of the guys I know that smoke Cubans, they just want to be able to say they smoke Cubans. They couldn't tell the difference between it. If I took the band off and gave them a New World to a Cuban or a non-Cuban, whatever you want to call it, they wouldn't know the difference between that shit and Shinola. Just full stop.
there is a basic difference. There is a
Well,
basic difference. The
one's
basic
well, go ahead.
No, no, no. I mean, the basic differences I have found to my palate, to my experience, could be wrong, is the non-Cuban cigars have got much more ammonia in them.
Maybe.
They're much stronger cigars generally. Even
Right.
if they're light initially, there is a okay. So they're either very, very light and absent of virtually everything other than smoke,
Right.
or they're really toxically strong.
Yes. There's no in between.
Getting a balanced cigar which delivers flavor, which delivers complexity, is basically the game that the Cubans do really well, and they've always
Right.
done it. Otherwise, and that's something you're searching for in New World cigars.
Right.
For us, or people like me living in London, it's very easy to say, why do that hard work search? You've got no end of Cubans that are going to deliver every single time.
Correct. Or the only new world that we know that you basically had an orgasm over at the end of last year was the Year of the Snake by Davidoff, because that delivered flavor and balance and whatnot.
Yeah,
So,
and it wasn't upsold to me other than that this is the Zodiac series, and I thought actually in many ways I downsold it in my head before I tried it.
Right.
I thought, right, this is gonna be one of those forgettable cigars, and it was absolutely unforgettable.
Yeah.
So you get those experiences.
That's very true. And cigar analyst, he's welcome to the show. He asked what we're smoking today. So for the fans that are joining late, Rizzo is smoking a Simon Bolivar, and I am
I'm
smoking
smoking a Bolivar Familiaris.
because he's familiar with it, and I'm smoking the Oliva V 135th anniversary cigar, and that's where we are. So feel free to ask questions.
Welcome to the show.
Everyone's apologizing for being late. We just didn't tell them we started late because someone was,
the tardiness is on our part, but
that is
we
true.
thought we'd give it a go. Unfortunately, Usman is not here. He's had to disappear off for a family medical emergency, which is the only really good reason why he shouldn't appear. So I wish him
the best.
good for that, and I hope everything works itself out in the nicest way. We will not have the benefit of Usman's insight into the history of a specific Cuban cigar band today, but I'm happy for the mild break because the pressure is doubled on him for his return next time. And I will cut into any of the history incisively as much as I can. And I'll wait the return of the Usman.
The Salmonet will be back next week. We'll have to have David do a special graphic. You know what we do have for the fans today? You know the video that you sent me about Trump? We do have that, and we can play that on the show if you think the cigar fans will get a kick out of that. I thought it was
remind me what he says, because I've got that. I suffer from that Alzheimer's thing.
So he says that we should start calling people retards and fags again if they do something stupid. We have the video, so we can play that if you like.
They're just words. We can change the volatility with which words are projected. Apparently, you can use any word. It's the meaning that you are trying to chuck behind the word that causes offense. And these days, pussies are offended by absolutely every fucking thing. Yeah,
that's true. I actually found it funny because he's like, if people do stupid stuff, you should just tell your friends or. So I think what we'll do for the fans that are going to be watching and listening, if you're offended easily, you probably for the next, how long is this video? 19 seconds. You want to tune out or fast forward. If not, you may find this as a chuckle. And then as we talk about cigars, we'll talk about what's going on in the world. Which will be fun, but this will be a good start because of Mr. Trump and his tariffs, I think. So here we go, kids.
Today, I am signing an executive order making it legal to call your friends fags and retards if they are doing something faggy or retarded. Fags and retards, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to start calling our friends this again. And we will. We're going to call them fags and retards again.
And there you go. Welcome.
I'm disappointed with Mr. Trump on this occasion.
Why?
Because he left out the category most often used, and
which is,
at least for my friends, you fucking idiots.
Yes.
This was the more over-encompassing category. I could be a fucking idiot from time to time, but most of the people that I know behave like fucking idiots.
Right.
And I say that with a great deal of love and affection. You fucking idiot.
I agree. But you see, that's a London and that's a New York thing. Like you and I, like what we just played. If we called each other a retard or a fag or a fucking idiot, we would chuckle and go, okay, but we're still gonna have lunch. Like, it's like no big deal. The rest of the world, they're pussies. And if you call someone a pussy nowadays, they're all like, "Oh my God, that's a terrible thing to say." I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm so surprised
Yeah,
at where the world has gone so ridiculously fast.
yeah,
I mean, this nonsense has all happened in the last 5 or 6 years, yeah.
yep,
And it's taken 5 or 6 years for literally the fabric of society to degenerate to,
yep,
oh, don't call me this name. Oh, I can do what I want. Minorities are more important than majorities.
right, right.
That's another weird one. That's another weird one.
Yeah.
Minorities are more important than majorities.
Hmm.
Um, uh, these are not, perhaps they're not simple answers. These are complex answers to relatively complex questions. Having said that, we were doing pretty well until pre-COVID
Yeah,
in terms of world how it was. There are people who take advantage of other people all the time throughout society everywhere, right? And it seems that by championing those, people have got away with mass murder. I mean, they've got away with the way the society has changed. The Me Too movement,
right,
uh, pedophilia in places like the church. Now, these are very, very sensational, news sensational, and actually real things.
right.
But these have always existed. They've
Yeah,
always existed. These issues and problems have always existed, and I suspect they'll always exist.
yeah,
Unfortunately, they will always exist, right? But the the dumbing down in society about how clever we are. I mean, we are dumb because we now consider that we're really clever and very well informed, and yet we're
right,
not. Uh, you know, we access social media and think we know everything.
right. Well, I think part
Okay.
of the reason we're in the state we're in is because of social media and because people don't know their neighbors and get like kids don't go out and play. They
Mm.
go, I got bullied on Facebook. I'm like, what kind of pussy are you? Then get off of Facebook or bully them back. Like, I never got that. Like, how can you be bullied on social media? Like, who cares? Grow a pair of balls. I don't care if you're 10 years old
Yeah,
or you're 110 years old. It's
weak
weak. Yeah,
society,
no, I
weak
agree. I
society
agree.
has become weak, and
Very weak.
we've developed these weaknesses into things that we like. I mean, smoking shitty cigars, um,
Oof.
based on social media presence.
Yeah, well, anything we recommend though is good. And talking about that, Cigar Analyst says, which is the best Opus X cigar for you guys, and which one do you recommend to start off with? Well, my favorite Opus X is the Opus X that comes in the black tube. Um, I forget the name. I want to say it's under the Fire of God's brand. And I enjoy that one. It's got a little bit of flavor. It's got big smoke. And I would start with that. I mean, if you're gonna, and what you're going to pay anywhere from $15 to $50 a stick for Opus X. I would, you might as well start at the best and stay there.
I had one Opus X that I thought was not bad at all, to be very
Okay.
honest with you. This was the one with the green X on it, and this was the Dubai edition. I think it was called the Desert Rose. I think it was
Yep.
written in French or Spanish
Ooh.
underneath the X. Something like Desert Rose, but that was for the
Very,
Emirates edition. It was quite a satisfying smoke. I smoked that
yeah.
at home. I think that's on my Instagram as well. But what I liked about it, this is the thing about, deceptive marketing. Sometimes you often eat with your eyes, and that band looked really nice. It looked very different
Right.
on it. So it was the Opus X, so the big X design. There's a
Right.
green one. I've got the band lying around somewhere
Right.
in the big glass
And the big
container.
fan. Yeah.
In a big glass container. That was a good one. That's one worth trying.
Yeah.
Perhaps even you, now that we're talking about it, you might get the opportunity to try that one.
I've got a
I
guy
don't go on.
I have a wholesaler. I have a wholesaler that's I get my non-Cuban cigars from. Um, and he'll send me Opus X's or whatever, and I'll call him. I'll be like, I'm in the mood for something other than my CAOs. He's like, he puts a bag together, and I'll get Opus X. That's how the Olivas, and he knows what I like and don't like.
Uh,
So there's only
I'm,
like,
I-
so I got that.
I'm keen for you to try one of those cigars that we kind of referenced last time on the show, which is the San Cristobals with the parrots on them. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find it, but I will. This week I'll have time. I'll start looking and see if I can find it. I mean, I'll call him. He probably has it. And we actually put a short about that, and everybody kind of liked it. They were like, yeah, cool. The Parrot Band. No one told me if it was a good smoke, but they all liked the
Yeah, I
band.
don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
This was about 4 or 5 years ago on Instagram. They were doing a lot of Instagram marketing,
Right,
but
right.
the way they were doing it genuinely made it look like a very attractive product. I don't know
Yeah,
if it's a
yeah.
good smoke or not, but the product looked very attractive.
Right.
Yeah. So I've not seen them in the UK ever anywhere. I would
Okay.
have tried it by now. So I thought maybe this is something you can get hold of and
I'll
give
get
it
a
a
hold
go.
of. I'll give it a hold and try. I know there's the brand that we both tried about a year and a half ago, Ying Mao or something from a company in the United
Oh,
States. Remember that one?
that was the Emperor Yao.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, yeah. That was a good cigar. I enjoyed
It's
that.
a good looking. It's a big, nice,
Yeah,
and sort of shout out to Zaya Yunnan, who is the owner and founder of that company. That's
yeah.
El Septimo Cigars.
Yep.
Um,
And I smoked a couple of those. They were very good. I was impressed. I mean, they're pricey for what they are, but it was a good cigar.
well, so welcome to the world of
London.
cigar. No, welcome to the world of cigars. A lot of non-Cuban or New World cigars, or however you want to call them, right,
Right.
are producing ultra expensive ranges, whether
Yeah.
that's the Mirafels, which we've mentioned on this show. Davidoff
Opus
has its
X.
own. Davidoff is a slight standout because it has its
Yeah.
own history of Cuban cigars,
Right.
and it's got a very well entrenched history in in the smoking culture in UK, Europe, and in the USA.
Right.
But uh, these days, you're going to find ultra expensive El Septimos,
Yep.
ultra expensive Olivas.
Right. Right.
When I say ultra expensive, I mean I actually mean disproportionately expensive because I would never have expected to pay more than 15-20 pounds,
Okay.
or let's say $15-20 for a New World cigar. It just was
Yeah.
ridiculous. But now, like things like the Andalusian Bull by La Flora Dominicana or
Yep.
LFD. These
Look at
are these
Rocky
are
Rocky Patel. Rocky Patel has his whatever anniversary thing that was going for $100 a stick, and I told you I tried one, and I was like, I was very underwhelmed for $100. For $100, I expected to have like an orgasm, and I did not.
What I find amusing is
Yeah.
Cigar Aficionado magazine. So I saw a few YouTube shows. So, a few guys in the USA were reviewing the Cigar Aficionado top 25 or top
Right.
30, whatever it may be. It's forgettable, right? Top 25 list of best cigars in the world.
Yeah.
And so Cigar Aficionado every year, apparently, I don't buy Cigar Aficionado
Right.
magazine. I don't read it. I'm neither here nor there about things like
Yeah. Yeah.
that, right? Yeah.
Same thing.
Um, but apparently, they always throw one or two Cuban cigars into the mix to give some air of global reputability.
One or two? Are you kidding me? You look at their every week or month when they review their cigars. I have a friend who gets it, and I'll read it once in a while. There's always, if they're doing 10 cigars, 3 to 5 of them are always Cuban, and in their top
Well,
25, there's always a bunch of Cubans.
but that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
saw a video of the review of the 2024 cigars. I think it was
Okay.
in the top 25 or top 30. I believe there were three Cubans. I may have got those figures wrong.
Right. Right.
I might be out by one or two, but it was not much more than that, right? Yeah. What I find amusing, and this is just amusing sitting where I am sitting and smoking what I smoke,
Right.
is I find it amusing how certain cigar companies, I mean, I could
Right.
take any cigar. I do. I have difficulty slagging things off, right? But when it
Right.
comes to certain New World cigar products, I smoke them. I wonder who is smoking these and saying this is excellent,
Yeah. I don't
right? I
agree.
have a real problem with that. I think um, who is there's a food blogger I watch, Sunny, on the best food as a best ever food show. It's
Okay.
amazing. You
Right.
should
Right.
watch his YouTube channel, right? And he goes around the world eating everything, but that includes he'll go to some remote place in Vietnam and eat raw seal guts or whatever it may be, like, or the bile out of a cow for raw, raw, like
Yeah.
stuff that you didn't think was edible in the first place. You'll eat it
Right.
to try it because it's a local custom or this or that, the other. And his journey says to him, and he said this before, is what I like to see is different cultures look at things in different ways. The thing that I find abhorrent is a speciality for them or is a delicacy for them.
Right.
And that seems to translate into this cigar smoking community. I will pick up a cigar and smoke it and say, this is horrible,
Right.
acerbic, bitter
Mhm.
cigar. I can give you an example, if you don't mind me hating a little bit, right?
Please.
Okay.
The fans love it.
I had a my father's Le
Oh, they're the
Bijou.
worst. They're the
Right,
worst.
right. Now, I was given this cigar with great pride and said, please do smoke this. It's one of the
Right.
nicest cigars
Yeah.
I've smoked in a long, long time. Now, it was a figure, it was sort of a Toro-sized, what was it, Toro-size? Could be wrong. Sort of a 5-inch cigar. And it had a figurado, very, very sharp pointed torpedo, very sharp. You could
All
literally
right.
stab yourself with it, yeah? I cut that cigar, lit that cigar. Where I sit and smoke, I have my favorite ashtray, and that cigar sat in that ashtray off and on all day. I
Okay.
kept thinking, am I missing something here? Someone gave this to me with great pride, said smoke it. I lit it. I hated it.
Right.
I got my strength up again half an hour later. I lit it and I thought, why am I so then I was stuck between why am I smoking this cigar incessantly? Throw it away. And
Right.
on the other side, I need to finish this, otherwise I consider myself a total snob. Why wouldn't I give it a chance? You know what I
Right.
mean? I was
Yeah. Yeah.
stuck. I was stuck for hours on this cigar. It was like just sat there.
Wow.
And I
That's
kept
more than
looking
I
at it,
spent.
picking it up, and putting it down, and said,
Yeah.
no, no more. And then
Yeah.
starting again, no more. It was bitter, acerbic,
Yeah.
strong, left a really crappy taste in the mouth that wouldn't go
Yeah.
out of my mouth for a day or two. And I'm thinking, who the fuck thought this was a good cigar, let alone one of the best
Right. Right.
in that range? There's someone out there who owns that brand
Yeah.
and has a bunch of friends who think, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
But
I
it goes
find it
back
totally
to
unrelatable.
it goes back to your original point about palate, right? Everybody has a different palate, and if you've only grown up, let's say, on non-Cubans, and I'm talking cigars, then that is why you think it's a great cigar. I smoked one when they first came out. Someone's like, "Oh, you got to try it." So I was at my friend, it was a chemist, and he said here, and I took it and I smoked it. I think I got maybe 5 minutes into it, and I was like, "This is just crap." And I go, let me go in the back and get a real cigar." So yeah, so I was not a fan. So I don't know if they've gotten better, but
No,
I
but
think a
as I
lot of
say,
it's advertising.
with this particular cigar, I was off and
Mhm.
on it throughout the whole day, and I don't
Right,
believe my recollection is I don't believe I finished smoking. I threw it away eventually. I really did give it a go, and
right,
at no point did I think this is outstanding. I need to keep trying it.
right.
I was trying it really out of uh, s-
Respect.
uh, 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 a little bit out of respect, but a little bit sort of. I thought, you know what? I'm really turning into a complete knob. I
No,
need to give this the full go. No, and I'm so glad that I haven't turned into a knob and that I'm really a calm kind of individual and give everything a shot.
yeah,
Right?
that's
That's the
I'm
way.
like that.
Yeah,
So,
and
well,
so
you are because the Cigaranos, and I know you can actually answer this one because you've told me about it. What's your favorite Camacho cigar?
is the Connecticut.
And the label color on that one is
It is not the yellow one. The yellow one is the Corojo.
right.
It is the orangey color.
The orangey
It's not a
color. There you
bright
go.
orange. It's like a dead orange.
Right.
So it's called a Camacho Connecticut, and I
Yeah.
like that one so much. The favorite size is a Toro, which is like a Robusto, but taller, longer than a Robusto.
Right. Yeah.
And
And
it's a
right.
relatively inexpensive cigar. You can pick it up for
Yeah.
between $12 and $15. It's a good,
Yeah, I
it's
think
bang
here.
for buck.
Yeah.
It's Davidoff owned brand.
Hmm.
Davidoff owned brand. Therefore, the construction. I've never had a bad one. I think I mentioned it. I've never had.
Right.
Those Connecticut's. I will have smoked more than 100 of those.
Oh wow. So you okay? So
In the last 5 years. Well, I haven't
yeah,
smoked them recently. I tend not to smoke New World,
right.
but I've smoked more than 100 of those
Hmm.
boxes of them. In fact, may have one of the boxes actually.
Oh,
Oh,
here we go, kids.
Scheissenshausen's. I'll have to dig for it a little bit.
All right.
But I keep it here because I just like the box. Oh, fucking hell! Sorry, on my French. Is
I
this
knew
if
that.
you want
I
to
knew that
see?
was French. Yeah, show the box to the fans. There you go,
So it's
everybody.
the
There's the.
Camacho, Connecticut. You asked about it. There you go.
There you go. That's what he likes. That's
It's
one of
this
his
dead.
non-Cubans he
It's like
likes.
a dead orange color.
Yeah. It almost looks like a McLaren yellow. Just saying. What do I
Yes,
know? Yeah, doesn't it? Doesn't it look like a McLaren yellow?
yes. I think you may have nailed that. That's the McLaren house color, actually.
And I think we're going to call McLaren after the show and have them sue
That is
Davidoff.
the McLaren house color. Yeah, the Camacho. Yeah. But
Yeah, there you go.
what I like about the Camacho is the name and also the symbolism of the scorpion.
Mm,
And if you see the Camacho cigars sitting on a rack
yeah,
in a humidor,
yeah,
even you may like them, may not. You kind of like feel like reaching out and saying, "Oh, what's this about?" You know, it's that
right,
kind of. Is that San Cristobal parrot kind of marketing? Oh, let me
right.
pick this up and have a look.
Okay. Now I know what I'm going to call my wholesaler after the show today. I'm going to go, I want him to send me some McLaren cigars and the Parrot and see what he can do.
Have you still not smoked the Camacho
I have
Connecticut?
not. I remember I told you last time I was in the Pacific Northwest. I called the cigar store. They had it. I go, great. I'm going to come in. I said, where in your store can I smoke? And they go, oh, it's Seattle. You can't smoke in a cigar store. I'm like, I'm sorry. You can't what in Seattle? He's like, yeah, you can't smoke in a cigar store. There is no place to smoke a cigar unless you have a house. And I was like, I'm at a hotel
You get them in
and
tubes
no.
as well.
Yeah. Oh, very nice. Nothing like a good tube because those have multi-purposes. So it's good to have them. Yeah. Clinton taught me that. So, but because you don't want to ruin your cigar. Um,
There you go.
but yeah, see, I couldn't smoke one, so I didn't get it. But now that I'm back in a place where you can smoke, LA, where we can smoke and start a fire, then we'll do that. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. How big is Riz's humidor? But they want to know how big your humidor is. By the way, I had to double read that. I thought they were asking another question. I got a little worried. So, how big is your humidor?
My humidor is the size of London.
That's true. Your humidor is Tom Tom
My
Davidoff number
humidor is
9. Yeah, your
Tom
humidor's there.
Tom.
Yeah, I was gonna say his humidor is Tom
It's
Tom. So just put it.
that's the big advantage of it. It's like some people
Yeah.
I call them hobbyists,
Mhm.
right? Okay. In the past they would have been called hobbyists. Now they're called aficionados, right? Yeah.
Right, right.
Some people love to maintain a big collection of cigars at home. They take great pride in storing their boxes away and keeping the
Right.
humidity levels. A bit like farmers, a bit like horticulturalists. When people used to have greenhouses, they would sort of go in there and prune the greenhouse and keep
Yep.
the temperature right and all that kind of. This is 200 years ago, by the way,
Yeah.
150, 200 years ago, right? So I think I live in London. It's like the
Yeah.
most vibrant place in the world. The
Oh,
most
yeah, New
vibrant
York.
place in the world for
Oh, well,
cigars,
yes.
right?
For Cuban cigars, right.
For Cuban cigars. Everywhere else can go and try and match it. But London, the vibrancy, the diversity of cigar merchants,
Right, right.
tobacconists, cigar sampling rooms and lounges is fabulous in London.
Yeah.
And you can walk into any humidor in London with a huge, great degree of confidence. You're going to get really good product, like
Yeah.
really good product. And if I can give a shout out, by the way, I am not one to say really positive things. I'm more of I like to indulge in the art of critique, as you know, and I try and do it in a very subtle way.
Oh,
Right.
sure. Let's go with that.
But but you know what? There is one thing in London, or
Yeah.
one thing in the UK, that is kind of world beating. The importer of Cuban cigars into the UK is a company called Hunters and Frank, a very, very old company, more
Right,
than
right.
about 200 years old, something like that, in that
Yeah.
environment. And they're the only importers of Cuban cigars into any particular region that have the ability to, with the permission of the Cuban supplier Habanos, say, to inspect and return cigars. So in their bonded
Right.
areas in the UK where the cigars come in from Cuba, they have their own inspection team, their own board, who will go in, look at cigars, do the selection, and then place what's called the EMS stamp on their boxes.
Right.
EMS standing for English Market Selection, which is like I believe I may have shown this to you before if I have a box lying
I think we
around.
did that. I think last week or the week
So I
before we
showed you
talked
the
about
EMS box.
this. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that kind of, I'm not here to promote anyone, but I'm saying that
Right.
kind of certification, that kind of level of reliability lets people like me smoke very, very comfortably
Right.
around, London, the UK, without having to maintain a huge stock at home. Like at
Right.
home, maybe I've got 30, 40 cigars at any one time, sometimes 50 cigars, maybe a little bit more, right? But then there's
Right.
like, little selections, single sticks, etc., etc. Things like boxes and things like that. For people who really want to keep them, that's good for them, yeah? But
Yeah.
we got London. We can, why do I need to buy a box of 20 cigars or 50 cigars this year
Right.
because they'll run out? I can very easily and readily access the market and go and pick out whatever I feel like smoking. So that's my
Yeah.
style of smoking.
Well, and I'm different. I mean, I buy
But
boxes
no,
because
but Tom Tom is my humidor.
yes, I was gonna
So
say that we all
long
know.
story short, Tom Tom is my
Sometimes
humidor.
when you're seeing me, I have humidors at the house, like six of them, maybe more. And I whatchamacallit, and I buy my boxes and I put, my cigars in the humidor, and then this way, like we do a show and I go to the different humidors and I pick out a cigar, or I kind of stick with my basics, and then every now and then, like yesterday for Instagram, I threw a Davidoff late evening when I was out having a scotch, right? In that saying,
Did
don't
you
miss the
dip
show
it? Did
tomorrow.
you dip it in the scotch?
I did not dip it in the scotch.
Start dipping. Start dipping.
I'm not a dipper. I'm not a dipper.
Try
I
it
like, I'll try it. Arnold infuses them with a syringe.
with a
So that
syringe.
he was for tequila, he will infuse it with a syringe, I think, if I read correctly. I don't think he dips. I think he infuses it with like a syringe. So he gets, when you smoke one of his punches or something, you get a little bit of the tequila in it. I thought that was interesting.
Well, if you smoke enough, and from time to time, let's say, for example, you smoke the CAO Brazilians, yes.
Yes.
From time to time, you can spice it up, vary it up,
Yeah.
try something for the hell of it, because sometimes you want a predictable smoke, but then you want a slightly more, exciting smoke. You can sort of like, let's see, what is, let's dip that one in tequila
Yeah.
or dip it in rum or whatever.
And I
So
stand corrected. A cigar analyst says I saw Arnold would brush it over with the tequila with a cedar strip. Oh, I thought he injected it, but if he's brushing it with a cedar strip, but yeah, I know that he said when friends come over to his house, he has them try the cigar with tequila. So that's what he does. Then he brushes it with a cedar stick.
yeah,
I stand
the reason
corrected.
you went to the syringe is because obviously the '60s was catching up with you,
Well,
and
and when we say the 60s, we're just talking about 60 CE. There's nothing in front
I
of
mean the
B60.
1960s, not the 1860s.
Yeah, I was in the year 60 CE myself, so close enough. So, when it was favorable to do things like that. In the 1960s, I don't know, was heroin popular then?
I don't know, was it?
I don't know. I'm old. I'm not that old. I mean, granted. I mean, just because Lincoln and I went to high school together. I mean, come on. So it is what it is. So, but so what do we want
I
to talk
wasn't
about? Yeah,
around in the '60s, but I was very much around in the '70s.
I was
I
around in the
think,
60s, the 70s. So
yeah, I was in
yeah.
the. I don't know what generation am I called? Generation X? Am I
I
generation?
don't. Are you even a generation? My
No, yeah,
generation.
yeah. Everyone has their sort of like generational sort of tags. I think I'm
All I
Generation X.
All I know is I keep reading articles in The Economist saying that my age group, my generation, we're the worst because we've not given up, if you will, alcohol. We've not given up sex. We've not given up cigars. We've not given up drugs. We've not given up anything. And they go, and these people are terrible and blah, 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 blah. But meanwhile, every time I go to my doctor for my annual, he goes, you're healthier than like the 20, 30 years old or whatever. You're like, and I'm like, yeah, because you just live life. you exercise, you live life, and you go do. I mean, it's great. And Cigar Analyst said that took a dark turn earlier when we talked about syringes in the 60s. That didn't take a dark turn.
Yes, you
That was
did.
just,
You did take a dark turn. You did.
I was just going to sing the song Memories. Memories. I'm sorry. But no,
Memory.
it's memories, the memories.
Memories.
Memories, the song. Anyway, from Cats. Anyway, my point of this is that I think you just live. I don't think it matters what generation is. I think the people that are, say, under 40, they may have a problem because of social media. I was reading a book that just came out that said social media is changing the way we are as human beings. No one knows how to talk, press the flesh, or do all this stuff, and everybody just sits home and watches us, if you will. So, anytime you want to join the show, feel free. So,
Every generation has a problem with every other generation.
I don't think that's true.
I
don't think so. My parents' generation didn't have a problem with our generation because our generation went out and played. We worked. We weren't lazy. We listened to rock and roll. They didn't care. We grew our hair a little long. They didn't care. I mean, I don't think my parents' generation, for our generation, they were like, great, go do. You were a productive human being. The later generations, I think everybody has a problem with. Like lazy. Couch potatoes. They can't get their asses and their heads out of their phones. I think that's a problem.
Yeah, could be. It could be. Actually, the person that could have answered that question who's not here is Usman. Usman is substantially younger than both of us.
Oh my God, he's like 14. He just looks old because of the beard.
I believe Usman is
40-something.
30.
He's in his 30s? Really?
39,
really?
Which is still at least half, if not more, generation down from you.
Wow, thanks a lot.
And maybe a generation and a half down from me.
Yeah, I'm 1,000,006. With my birthday coming up this month, I'll be 1,000,007. So don't forget to send your cards and gifts and boxes of cigars and scotch. So, but
time is relative, therefore age is relative.
It's how you feel.
I guess that adds to it, but it's also the number of experiences you've had. If you've lived in a village,
right?
If you've lived in a village and not left it, I would imagine that time for you really just stands still. And if you've traveled the world and done a billion things, time will go really quickly because you've done so many things. So there's that relativistic time traveling that's going on. And anyway, that bears out into physics as well. If you go on a spaceship and you traveled really far away at really great speed and came back, you would age less than someone who stayed stationary on planet Earth. And there's both something wise about that and also something empirical about that. So, go figure.
So basically, then I'm literally 1 billion years old because I have traveled and done and lived the life of many, many people. Because I go by the premise, a brave man or somebody who experiences things only dies once and a coward dies many times. So I have lived under that. Has always been my credo since I was a kid. It's like, let's just go do. Say yes to everything. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to die anyway. You see, it's funny. I was talking to my doctor a couple of weeks ago about something, and he said, this is not the cardiologist or my regular, it was a different doctor. And they go, you really should give up scotch and cigars. They go, I'm going to outlive you. We're good. So I was like, not happening. Cigar Analyst says, what's the oldest cigar you guys have smoked? The oldest cigar I ever smoked was a 1956 H. Upmann Cuban cigar, which the boys have seen. I have a few left over. I showed a couple of weeks ago one of the out of the tube. It was an interesting smoke, but now I'm just saving them for the auction houses in London. So there you go.
So I don't know if Ali, the cigar analyst, if he means the oldest cigar from the year it was made, or the oldest cigar from between when it was made and when you smoked it.
Right.
If you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I just went with the oldest that I can do is the one that was like the pre-embargo Cuban. That's the oldest cigar that I have ever smoked in my life. I've had the 10 and 20-year-old aged cigars, and they were okay. Like I said, I've had the pre-embargo stuff. So the oldest has to be when I smoked it, 50 years old or some ridiculous thing. So yeah.
2 cigars come to mind as of late. I smoked a Romeo e Julieta number 1, I believe, number 1. in a silver tube. I have the tube lying around somewhere. I'll find it, but it's not in reach.
Right.
That was from 1983.
Wow. Okay.
And then one of very enjoyable, sort of a different kind of flavor profile, dry cigar, slightly chocolatey, very smooth, very, very smooth cigar.
Right.
Ash just turned white, just crumbled away. That's one that comes to mind. Another cigar that I smoked, this was at the number 6 event, sort of like around number 6 Cavendish
Cavendish,
event
right.
around October last year. My recollection is October, November, maybe October, November last year, was the Hoyo de Monterrey Double Corona 1998.
Wow.
Unbanded, because the cigars came with no band. They just came in
Yep.
a big cab of 25, was it? Yes, it was a cab of 25 with a yellow
Okay.
ribbon around them. I smoked that at number 6 Cavendish. There's a YouTube video of that, me smoking that cigar. If anyone wants it, you can put that link as well below.
We'll find it. Sure.
Um, and that cigar it had a beautiful smoothness of delivery, of aroma and smoke. The taste of that cigar, my recollection, was creamy, fruity kind of cigar in terms of its profile. And I retrohaled. I mean, I retrohale a lot of my cigars.
Right.
I don't know if we've ever had a program explaining retrohale. I would like Usman, if he hasn't done it before, to explain the retrohale. Retrohale is to taste the cigar in your sinus, basically, because what you do
Yeah.
is you draw the smoke into your mouth, effectively press your tongue up against the top of your mouth, and snort the smoke out through your nose. A bit like this. Let me show you.
Wow. See, now when we used
Now,
to snort things through our noses when I lived in South Florida,
the other way,
you
the other
wouldn't
way
blow them
around,
out.
the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
way,
it's the other
the other
way.
way.
So yeah.
Right. So
So
the snorting and also the speed with which you snort can change the flavors that you're tasting.
oh
If you
wow.
do a heavy snort, you're likely to get a very heated, spicy flavor. But if you did
Right.
a smooth, slow retrohale, a bit like this, you see how slowly that was?
Yep.
You could taste different notes. You could taste different. You can just the speed with which you snort or retrohale can change the notes that you are tasting. So
Right.
anyway, the reason I got onto the retrohaling is when you come to these aged cigars or old cigars or cigars that have
Right.
been sitting around and have been aged in those conditions for a long period of time, the whole point is that the ammonia content of those cigars diminishes at an optimal level. I believe for each cigar it's a different amount of time, but let's say it's
Right.
sort of 10 years, some might say 5 years, 10 years, that the ammonia levels drops. In other words, the strength of the cigar drops, the
Drops.
strength,
Right.
but the notes increase in their availability to you. So it's
Right.
like the background noise drops so that you can hear the melody of the cigar. I'm there's no charge, by the way, on my part for giving you such beautiful descriptions. Okay, I don't believe anyone else will give you descriptions like that. But what
No.
happens is, and the aging of a cigar is is about taking the background noise away,
Mm-hmm.
so you can hear the melody,
Right.
hear the tune.
Right.
And if it's a good cigar, the tune will be a nice variable tune. And if you age it too long, it could be that even the tune drops in intensity.
Yeah. When you smoke a pre-embargo Cuban, it diminishes. So for me, they're more now collector things. And I joked, we talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago. People are like, you should sell them. I've had auction houses go, we'll buy them. And I'm like, of course you will. But I'm like, I'm going to keep them for now. I mean, it's because also they're going to do is sell it to a collector and he's going to smoke them. So I figure, yeah, I
I
can
mean,
let them sit in my
it's
humidor.
like some of these very old wines. Yeah, some people
Yeah.
in collecting wines are like
Oh,
200 years old, right? Okay, God
crazy.
knows what they're going to taste like, but they never sell them, they never open them, they never
Yep.
drink them.
They
It's
just
just
want
a
to say they
tradable
have them.
asset. It's a tradable bottle. It's got a label on it, and it's an
Right.
asset to be. And
Yeah.
so perhaps cigars are going in that direction as well. Same with
Maybe.
cars. People are buying
Yep.
cars like for 100 million pounds. They never drive them.
That's crazy to me. A car is like a cigar, like a woman. They should all be driven and smoked. It's the
Yeah,
same
but
thing.
but when equally there's the argument that if there is a market for them and the price is increasing, you'd be an idiot to smoke it. You're it's a far more astute decision to buy it and sell it at a later stage for a great big profit.
Yeah, but let me.
You know, it's a funny lockdown situation. You don't win this, you can't win
Yeah.
this way, you can't win that way. So it
I'm.
becomes that traded.
Let's do it this way. We have enough money. We're good. The extra whatever I'm going to make on it isn't going to affect my lifestyle. No, it's like buying a car, whether the car's, 100,000 US or 50 million US. You buy it, you drive it. You bought it. Not if I want to look at something that's gorgeous and I don't want to do anything with it, I'll buy a piece of art. Put the art on the wall. I can look at it, then I can sell. Then that I don't touch. But a cigar is meant to be smoked. Cars are meant to be driven and enjoyed the engine notes from them. I don't care if you just drive it to Cars and Coffee once a week, but they're meant to be driven and enjoyed. These people that are holding things that are like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I think is no good. And Usman says the nicotine also diminishes
No,
as there
Osman,
is a
it's
it isn't.
Qasim. It's
Yes.
Qasim.
He says it diminishes. He said the nicotine also diminishes. There's a marriage between all of the different flavor notes, and a lot like an aged wine. Okay, there
And
you go.
I'm glad he used the word marriage because we're talking about musical cigars
Yes.
and the marriage of Figaro comes to mind. Figaro, Figaro,
Mm,
Figaro, Figaro,
mm,
Figaro. So it's this beautiful
yeah.
cacophony of singing and dancing and
Wow.
melody within that
Cacophony.
figure.
Look at this. We're
Cacophony.
using big
I
words
said that
today.
word, but I can see it written on the top of the book over there in the
I
corner.
just
So
wanted to make sure.
I
So
just
it was
wanted
a
to make
coffee
sure I
book.
got it in somewhere. I got
Good.
that word in. Cacophony.
Coffee. That's very cool. What are you going to do today? I'm going to read my coffee book. It's on the table. So there you go. I like that. Very cool.
My
So
cacophony coffee book.
that's your coffee book. That's very cool. Well, hopefully next week Usman will be here to enlighten everybody um, about a cigar brand because all we can just do is riff a little bit and talk about the Orange Man and that video. If you missed the video, go back to the first 10 minutes of the show. Our beloved president giving us new things to do. So I thought that was a
What was
cute
it?
video.
Fags, and what did he say? Fags and what?
Retards.
Recharge.
He said if people do something stupid, you should just call them fags and retards. And you know what's really interesting? When we were kids and we said the word fag, I mean, I know in the UK it refers to a cigarette, but when we said it, it didn't mean gay or anything. It just mean kind of like you're stupid. And if someone said you're an idiot, you're a retard, it didn't mean you were like retard. It's just like you're an idiot, you're a retard. Like you said, you're a fucking idiot. And let's go back to what you said earlier.
Well,
People
well,
today are
well.
just a little carried
Perhaps,
away with everything.
perhaps to enlighten you,
Mm,
on this, and I choose my words carefully on the enlightened part because you'll understand why. You
yeah.
know where the word fag comes from?
Isn't that sticks? No, what's fag come from?
Well, it comes from the word faggot.
Okay, which means
Faggot was a bunch of sticks
sticks.
and
Yeah,
kindling that were tied together
right.
and used to burn people alive.
Oh, I like that.
That was the kindling used at the bottom of a wooden pole. When people were tied to a wooden pole, they would
Okay,
surround them with faggots and
okay,
burn them alive, which
right.
is gays, minorities, etc., etc.,
Yeah,
etc. And that's where the word fag, shortened down from faggot, comes from.
game's from.
So I know this because it's running on my Google right now. I can see it
Okay, just checking.
on the
So,
heads up display. I'm only joking. I'm only joking. That's actually my brain power. But
yeah.
imagine if I had heads up display. That'd be brilliant because you could sound
But
so fucking intelligent.
I knew fag started out or faggot started out as a bunch of sticks. Then they shortened it to a fag. Let me borrow a fag, which was a cigarette. And then how it's kind of like back in the day. If you
The
ever
fag
watch,
was a lit. It was basically
yeah,
that lit
from
stick. So
yeah,
it lends itself to a cigarette as well.
right.
You know what I
But
mean?
here's what I got. When we remember the Flintstones, if you remember the Flintstones song, like "Be a Flintstone," blah blah, and we're gonna have a gay old time. Gay back in the day meant happy. So
Yeah.
how gay became homosexual? No clue. It's
Because
one of those
it
things.
was like
Yeah.
the concept of the rainbow and these words. I mean, not necessarily a bad way. These just they're words that are just used for different meanings. But then people just take ownership of those words, right?
Then
Okay.
they're stupid. Then if you're offended by
It's
something that
just,
you take ownership of that doesn't have any meaning to it, then you're an idiot. And then you know
but
what? If
the
you're insulted, good.
but equally,
Yeah,
language has been changing ever since language was used, right? Okay,
that's
the
true.
meanings of words have been changed. So well, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I
Okay.
like to, if there is a meaning of a word, if there's, let's
Right.
say, a textbook meaning of the word, let's use that meaning.
Right.
But these days, absolutely everyone's a poet, and everyone takes poetic license, and everyone
Yeah.
uses words the way they want to use words. And I like, I'm a woman, but actually I'm a man, but I want to call myself a woman.
Not
Let's
anymore.
change the meaning.
Not in
Those
the
things,
United
those
States.
things. Now you might say they're dangerous. As I don't think they're dangerous. They're just
I
plain
don't think they're
stupid.
dangerous.
Just
Yeah.
plain stupidity.
I
Stupidity.
go with I go with stupidity, and I will say now in the United States, you're either a male or a female, whatever it says on your birth certificate, because the Donnie has said so, and I will tell you, I agree with that 1,000%.
Are you saying
Yeah,
that you think Donnie has done some smart things?
I said it on Lost Dollar Business Club the other day. I said that Donnie,
No,
some of
no,
the
no, 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 no. You didn't say it. You were forced to say
I
it.
wasn't forced to say it.
You were you
Yesterday
were put
on
you were put in a
yesterday.
position. You were put in a position. You were put in a position where you had to reconsider. Actually, you know what?
Donnie wrote me a check for $100 million. Donnie, nothing can do no wrong now.
You're
So
bought and paid for, aren't you?
I listen. My loyalty can be bought and paid for. We told that every time a cigar company calls us and said, "Will you talk about us?" I was like, for the right price, we'll talk about anybody. But no, some of the executive orders he put out, I agree with. Some I don't, and some I want to see what happens. Some of the statements he made, like on the airplane crash that just happened, and our condolences to those families. Um, I wasn't thrilled with what he said. And I'm very much like, you are the president still. I know you're a New Yorker, and we like to just tell everybody to go fuck themselves, but you got to kind of, the nation's mourning, so to speak. Let's let them mourn. Um, some of his executive orders, I was reading The Economist, one of the analysts said basically he's going to sign like 10 million of them, and 10% of them will stick. Okay. So I
throw
give
enough
him credit.
throw enough mud on the wall and
Right,
some will
and
stick.
something will stick. But I give him credit, at least whether he's doing it a good job, a bad job, or no job. What I give him credit for is at least he's doing something, and I like that. And I like the fact that he's doing something. He's not sitting on his ass.
I,
Today,
I'm, I'm,
apparently
I'm,
February
I'm,
1st, the
I'm,
tariffs they're going to
I'm.
go.
This is called shake-uponomics.
Hmm.
Okay, and shake-uponomics trademark registered to Reza. It's the first time you've ever heard this word.
Sure.
Shake-uponomics. This is not about economics, but it's about shaking up what the rut
Status quo.
people. Yeah, the status quo, but
Yeah.
also stupidity.
Yeah.
If you don't rattle stupidity, how do you expect it to change, right? Okay,
Yeah.
and you have to have someone who's willing to do that rather than just be part of a mediocre system of power
Yeah.
hungry politicians. Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump isn't also a power hungry person, but
Right.
I don't believe he's a power hungry politician. I believe he's a power hungry person. And whether you like him or you don't like him, whether you like his policies or don't like his policies, every time he comes in, or we'll say every time, this is the second time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a shakeup.
Yeah.
And the shake up, the shaking the tree, when you shake the tree, all the fruit falls out. And that's what you need.
Now, when you say
Um,
fruit, do you mean like the gay
yeah,
fruit or just the
that's
fruit?
exactly what I
Okay.
meant. That's exactly what I meant. That's
or
exactly
or
what I meant.
or as
Uh,
one of the fans just wrote, if gay means happy, what does Gaylord mean?
means the
Gaylord
Lord of
means
Happiness.
Lord of happiness, the Lord of happiness. So listen, all I know is that Donnie is shaking things up in the crypto market, which is interesting. He's shaking things up globally. He's adding tariffs. He's doing this. He's doing that. I think everybody.
And he's lining his pockets, and he's lining the
Yes,
pockets
he
of
made
his
eighty
friends.
billion
And
dollars
but you tell me,
some media. Yeah.
what's different about that and any other politicians in the
Oh no, I
past?
think
They
that
all
I
do.
agree. Yeah,
They all do the fucking same
100%.
thing. They all
Yeah.
do the exact same thing. In this particular case, if we can change the world in a better way, That's the bonus part of it. But all
Yeah.
politicians are always on an ego trip. They're always on a power trip. They're always on a financial power trip. They're always on a keep my power, extend my wealth. I had this conversation with you last time, or it
Yep.
wasn't really a conversation, it's me mouthing off. I mean, why do people like Elon Musk and Mark
Nobody likes
Zuckerberg
Elon
and
Musk.
no,
No one
no.
likes Elon
Whether
Musk.
they like him or not, what the fuck
Yeah.
do they need anything more for?
Right. Right.
Right?
No. We
Yeah,
talked about that.
and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this is sort of just part of the human condition.
Yeah.
Uh, very few people on this planet will say, "Well, that's enough. I'm happy. I'm content. Let me be." There's very few
Yeah.
people like that. Everyone now wants more for
Right.
themselves,
Yeah.
always. Nothing's really changed when
Well,
it comes to the ruling
but,
class, but
but that's not really true. The old world, old money, and nouveau riche, and or I call them the oligarchs, the Zuckerbergs, and whoever you just mentioned, right? Old money knows that you have to take care of the people, because if you take care of the people are fed, they have their health care, they can live. They don't care that you have money. The oligarchs we have now are just trying to add another comma to their worth, and by doing that, that's when you piss off 300 million plus people. At some point it's going to be like, off with their heads, and that's a bad part to be in. And that's the difference between old money and the nouveau riche. They don't do anything to help people, and that's going to be a problem. So we'll
and
see.
just to the conversation that's taking place
Mhm.
between Ali and Qasim, yeah.
Right, I saw the kid
Um,
that's identifies as a cat, and his parents encourages it. Really get him nude or spadered. Then there you go. That's crazy.
the the world is a very weird place. It's a fucking from my perspective, and I'm
Yeah,
sure from Steven's perspective, it's a fucking
yeah,
weird place. It looks familiar.
yeah.
It looks like planet Earth,
Mhm.
but it isn't. I've landed on a
No,
different planet,
yeah,
and sometimes I'm bemused by it. Sometimes I'm angered by it. Sometimes I'm totally nonplussed by it.
yeah,
But if one shuts up and doesn't really say anything, one's kind of conducive to it,
yeah.
implicit with
Complicit.
that
Yeah,
movement. So we
yeah,
do what's called the anti-spin, right? In cricketing
yeah,
terms, if anyone is a cricketer here, right, we spin the ball the other way,
yeah,
right? And we spin the perspective the other way for some fucking balance, if anything else.
yeah, yeah. Not only do you get
Um,
to learn about cigars, but you get a different perspective. So there you go.
So on that side of the screen, we got some shit cigars. On this side of the screen, we got
Wow,
some reasonable
wow,
normal cigars. And that's the way
wow.
it is.
That's I'm gonna
Uh,
when I Davidoff sends me that the case of the year of the snake cigars, we'll see. So, I'm still waiting for
I
them to
think you'll enjoy
respond
it.
to
I
the thing.
really, honestly think you'll enjoy it.
I'm trying to buy. I'm trying to get one. Trying to get one. Is it like everybody? Like they're either sold out or you can't get them. And but so my wholesaler is trying to find me a year of the snake, and he's like, "Dude, it's like the hardest cigar to get." I'm like, "That's because Rizzo told everybody it's a great cigar of the year, and everyone's
I
buying them."
believe that's gone round a little bit.
Hmm.
That is well, put your hand in the year of the snake box and
Yeah,
prepare for it to get bitten.
yeah. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it. But getting one now is like an event. Since you said it's the cigar of the year, apparently people actually watch the show, and it became the cigar of the year because now you can't get them. Before the show, easy. Now I can't even get it. So now I've got to like plead and beg with my guy to try to find them for me.
You
So
should you should message the guy here in the UK, where he's based out of the UK.
yeah.
He's a cool cat and a half. Roy Sommer.
Oh
He's
yeah.
the head of marketing at Davidoff Cigars.
He's your
He's
best friend.
out of
I
the
know
UK.
you. You guys sat next
He's
to each
no,
other,
well,
and
I've only met
yeah,
him. I've only met him a handful of times, but first of all, a very knowledgeable person, knows his stuff inside
yeah,
out. But he's the one who a little bit played with my mind on that
yeah.
cigar, and he I don't know what mental key he turned
Right.
that it kind of worked. So if anything, if I were you, Steve, I'd message him and say, listen, dude, words got round. Can I get one? How can I get one? How can I get a
I,
couple of these cigars?
I got you better than that. Why don't we just have him on the show and we can all three or four of us
He's
smoke?
in Nicaragua right now. I think he flew yesterday, day before
Excuse
yesterday to
me.
Nicaragua. He's in
That's not my
Nicaragua right now.
problem. They have internet down there and indoor plumbing. So,
Basic internet, basic plumbing.
all right. Well, listen, you don't need real good plumbing. You just need internet to be on the show.
I would like to
So
visit Nicaragua, to be very honest
I've
with
been
you.
to
Is
Nick.
there something?
It's very beautiful. When we were we did a lot of deals in Colombia and Bolivia. Don't ask.
Yes,
And we did
yes,
go to and
yes,
we did
I'm
go to
sure you did.
Nicaragua. Oh,
Yes, I'm sure you
stop
did.
it! Yes, we
And you're
did.
still alive to tell the tale.
I know. Yeah, we did that in Panama too. We were in Panama when there was the unpleasantness. We were in Colombia and Bolivia. So yeah, so we've been in South America. But Nicaragua I've been to. It's a beautiful country. The people were very nice. So yeah, I like it.
Can I
So
give you a palindrome based on Panama?
if you would please. By the way, before you do it, by the way, the cigars and UFO video was great. Enjoyed watching that one. Well, thank you very much. We will retouch that topic in the future again.
I
Please
could
give me a
touch it now. I
paragraph.
could touch it now.
Oh, you want to touch it now? Ooh,
No, no,
how
no.
exciting.
There was no revelation. There was no
Mm.
revelation. There was this thing going around on the internet on the internet, yeah, on
Good luck with
social
that.
on social media. There was this great big revelation about these orbs
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
around. Where the fuck is that, man?
Oh,
Nothing.
Donald
Zero
Trump said
zeros.
that the
Yeah.
FAA knew that Donald Trump came out and said the FAA knew about it. Don't worry about it. That's because the alien overlords told him to kill it. So there you go.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just reading those messages. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for watching those videos. Like,
Yeah,
comment, and subscribe, as they say, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But normal service will resume next week, hopefully with Usman holding our hands, holding our brotherly cigar hands, guiding us through the world of some cigar brand. I mean, I've told him so many fucking times, please do Cuaba. Please
Yeah,
do Paul Araniaga. And I get the impression that if I say a brand, he steers clear of it. I don't know
I
why he
noticed
does
that.
things like that, right? Yeah. But
Well,
the
yeah.
very, very fucking interesting cigar, apart from the Davidoff Year of the Snake, one of
Right.
my favorite cigars, I mentioned this so many times, I don't know if it's ever stuck, is the Cuava Salamones. I had a 2004 Cuava Salamones 3 nights ago
Wow.
at Tom Tom with some chums. We did a bit of a lockdown there. Very, very interesting cigar. For those of you
Yeah.
who haven't tried it, try a Cuaba. Excuse me, Salamones. It's a double figurado. So the ring gauge varies throughout the cigar constantly. There's no consistency of ring gauge. It'll go from narrow to wide and then all the way down to narrow again.
Okay.
Very, very, very white ash, and depending on how old the issue of the cigar is, you're going to either get like walnut shells all the way through, or some
Oh,
deep fruitiness, which I got out of the 2004 cigars. Can't quite remember what fruit, and raisins. I got like this sort of like grapey, raisiny kind of like very richness. So
yeah.
this is what it's a relatively expensive cigar in the UK market. It's sort of like between 80 and £100
Right.
per stick, and the aged ones are at some different level. We're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
£300 well. Having said that, it's fucking interesting smoke. It's a
Okay.
really, really it's sort of like it feels like a real cigar because it's a big cigar, and that brand Quaba is the one that I wish Usman would do the history for. So I don't know what your thoughts
Well,
about that.
maybe this week he will do the history of that. You never know. We'll see. So, but my friend, it has been, as we say, a wonderful show. It is always good to see you. Um, I do this as we say. It's always good to see you. It's a pleasure. And before we run the end credits, what we're going to do is we're going to play, for the fans that missed it, Donald Trump telling us what we should do now. And then we'll run the end credits, and then that'll be it. And everybody that was watching live, thank you so much. We will see you next Saturday live. And for the people that are watching it later in the afternoon, that is a rebroadcast. Thank you for watching as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And also, wherever you get your podcasts, look for Two Old Farts Making Noises. That's TWO, spell the rest out. And you can actually listen to us if you don't want to look at our beautiful faces. And there you go. Anything else you want to say to the fans before we leave?
Yeah, OJ with cigars is really fucking good.
Okay, thanks for slowing the show up. Anyway, everybody, we love you guys. Always good to see everybody. We will see you all next week. Cheers, everybody.
Today, I am signing an executive order making it legal to call your friends fags and retards if they are doing something faggy or retarded. Fags and retards, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to start calling our friends this again. And we will. We're going to call them fags and retards again.
Fucking hell, thank God for that.
I like that